Welcome to Deep Crime Unveiled. Today we're going to talk about the tragic story of Polly Klaas, a case that touched the hearts of many in America. Picture a bright 12-year-old girl, full of dreams, suddenly taken from her home. Polly's abduction in 1993 changed her family's life forever and sparked important discussions about keeping children safe. In this video, we'll share her story, the shocking events of her kidnapping, the huge search effort that followed, and the important laws that were changed because of this tragedy. Join us as we remember Polly and see how her legacy is helping to protect children today. You won't want to miss this. The life and background of Polly Klaas. Polly Klaas was a vibrant 12-year-old girl from the peaceful town of Petaluma, California. Known for her kind heart and gentle nature, Polly was the type of person whose smile could light up a room. A 7th-grade student at Petaluma Junior High, she was an active and happy child who loved spending time with her friends, playing sports, and participating in her local community. Polly had a passion for art and theater, and she often dreamed of becoming an actress, sharing her creativity and talent with the world. She was at a beautiful stage in her life, where she was just beginning to explore and develop her interests and abilities. Polly's family was at the center of her life, and she shared a special bond with her mother, Klaas. Her community was small and tight-knit, where everyone knew each other, and Polly was well-loved by all. Her outgoing personality and genuine friendliness made her a joy to be around, and she brought happiness to those who knew her. But on the night of October 1st, 1993, Polly's life took a devastating turn. Hosting a slumber party for a few of her closest friends, what should have been a fun and carefree evening turned into a night of horror, forever changing her family, her town, and eventually the entire nation. The night of Polly Klaas's hijacking. On the evening of October 1st, 1993, commodity veritably sad happened. Polly Klaas, along with her 2 musketeers, was having a fun sleepover at her house in Petal, California. The girls were really enjoying themselves playing games, participating in funny stories, and laughing a lot. It was just what you'd anticipate from 3 12-time pasts having a great. As the night went on and it got late, they snuggled into their resting bags in Polly's warm room. They did not know that their lives were about to change in a big way. Also, around 10:30 p.m., a man named Richard Allen Davis entered the Klaas home. He was not known to Polly or her family and had a cutter with him. That was intimidating. He snappily tied up Polly's musketeers and put commodities in their mouths to keep them quiet. They felt helpless and spooked as he seized Polly and took her down. The girls were confused and shocked. But ultimately, they managed to free themselves and call for help solely. It was too late. The agony had formerly begun. In just many moments, Polly's family and original police were advised. A huge hunt began nearly right down. Everybody wanted to find her. But in those pivotal first twinkles, Polly was formerly gone, taken into the night by a man who had done terrible effects before. The Klaas family set themselves up in an awful situation as their peaceful city of Petaluma watched the tragedy unfold. Soon enough, the whole country participated in their worries and sadness over what happened to Polly. The search that brought everyone together. The disappearance of Polly Klaas led to one of the biggest search efforts in U.S. history. Almost right away, local police, FBI agents, and volunteers from the community came together to look for her. The town of Petaluma was filled with posters of Polly's smiling face, and the media quickly turned the story into national news. Polly's abduction struck a chord with families across the country, and soon, people from all over the U.S. joined in the search. Search teams combed through fields, forests, and rural areas around Petaluma, hoping to find any clue about where Polly might be. The Klaas family held on to hope, making emotional appeals to the public through interviews and press conferences, asking for help in finding their daughter. The community's support was incredible. Thousands of volunteers, many of whom had never met Polly, worked hard to bring her home. As days turned into weeks, the search continued, with law enforcement following every possible lead. Tips came in from across the country, and many theories emerged about who might have taken Polly and where she could be. But despite the huge effort, Polly remained missing, and the uncertainty weighed heavily on her family and the town. As time passed, the fear of not finding her alive grew stronger, and the nation's heart ached for Polly and her loved ones. United in hope, yet feeling the heavy burden of worry. The arrest of Richard Allen. On November 30th, 1993, after nearly 2 months of searching, there was a major break in the case. Authorities entered a tip that led them to Richard Allen Davis, a 39-time-old man with an expansive felonious history, including persuasions for burglary, assault, and hijacking. Davis had been arrested on unconnected charges shortly after Polly's hijacking, but it was not until this tip came in, those investigators began to erect together his connection to the crime. Davis was arrested and interrogated by law enforcement. After hours of questioning, Davis confessed to hijacking Polly Klaas. Still, his concession came with horrifying details. He admitted that Polly had been killed soon after he kidnapped her. Davis led authorities to a pastoral area in Cloverdale, California, where he'd buried Polly's body. The arrest of Davis marked a turning point in the case, but it was a bitter palm for Polly's family and the community. The stopgap that Polly would be set up alive was shattered, and the news of her murder transferred shockwaves through the country. People were outraged not only by the brutality of the crime, but also by the fact that Davis, a reprised lawbreaker, had been free to commit such a heinous act. Numerous questioned how someone with his felonious background had been released from captivity, sparking a public debate about the felonious justice system. The discovery of Polly Klaas' body. On December 4, 1993, Richard Allen Davis led police to where he had buried Polly's body. Her remains were found in a shallow grave in a remote area of Cloverdale, about 40 miles from Petaluma. This discovery confirmed the worst fears of Polly's family and the community. It was a heartbreaking moment for everyone who had hoped she would return safely, a moment that shattered their dreams. The news of Polly's death was devastating, but it also brought some closure to the long and painful search. The Klaas family, while filled with grief, finally had answers about what happened to their beloved daughter. The town of Petaluma, which had supported the Klaas family for months, mourned alongside them, sharing in their sorrow. People across the nation were also heartbroken over the loss of such a young and innocent life. Polly's murder was not just a tragedy for her family. It became a national tragedy that highlighted how vulnerable children are to violent crime. Finding her body marked the end of one painful chapter in the case, but also the start of a new one, as the legal process to bring Davis to justice began. The community and the nation, still in shock, faced the difficult task of seeking justice for Polly and ensuring her story would not be forgotten, raising awareness about child safety and the need for better protection for children everywhere. The court case against Richard Davis. 3 times after Polly was killed and her kidnapping passed, Richard Allen Davis's trial got underway in 1996. It snappily gained wide media attention and became one of the most nearly watched lawless trials of the decade. Polly's family, determined to seek justice for their cherished son, attended every day of the proceedings, hoping to find some check amid their inviting grief. Throughout the trial, Davis displayed no guilt for his conduct. He indeed teased Polly's family at times, making cruel and inhuman reflections that only strengthened their pain. This shocking behavior left multitudinous in the courtroom floored and underscored the brutality of his crime. The prosecution presented a strong case against Davis, including his own concession and physical validation that linked him directly to Polly's kidnapping and murder. They painted a pictorial picture of the events that had led to that woeful night, making it clear that Davis was responsible. After lower than 10 hours of deliberation, the jury set up Richard Allen Davis, shamefaced of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and several other serious charges. When the verdict was announced, he was doomed to death. This decision brought a sense of relief and a measure of justice to Polly's family and the multitudinous backers who had followed the case nearly. Still, while the verdict was a moment of win for some, it also raised serious questions about the lawless justice system and how it dealt with duplication malefactors like Davis. Multitudinous people believed that if the justice system had worked properly, Davis would not have been free to commit such a terrible crime. This case stressed significant excrescencies in how dangerous individuals were covered and kept off the expressways. As a result, the trial sparked important exchanges about the need for reforms in the justice system, emphasizing the necessity of better guarding children and icing that those with a history of violent behavior faced applicable consequences. The case not only affected Polly's family, but also resounded with families across the country, igniting a movement for change and lower awareness about child safety and crime prevention. The legacy changes in the law. After the case, following Polly Klaas's murder, her case led to significant legal reforms, particularly in California. The three-strikes statute, which was passed in 1994, was one significant result. Those found guilty of 3 or more major offenses were compelled by this law to serve life sentences. The goal was to keep repeat offenders, like Richard Allen Davis, from being released back into society and committing more violent acts. While many saw the three-strikes law as a win for victims' rights, it also led to a lot of debate. Critics argued that the law was too harsh and could unfairly punish people for non-violent crimes, sometimes giving them life sentences for minor offenses. This debate raised questions about how to balance public safety with fair treatment in the justice system. Still, the law became a symbol of the country's determination to protect children and vulnerable people from dangerous criminals. In addition to these legal changes, Polly's family started the Polly Klaas Foundation to promote child safety and prevent abductions. The foundation works hard to raise awareness about child abduction and provides helpful resources for families and law enforcement. Through educational programs and community outreach, they aim to empower parents and children with knowledge to keep them safe. Polly's legacy lives on through the foundation's efforts, as they strive to create a safer world for children and ensure that no family must go through the same heartache the Klaas family experienced. By turning their tragedy into action, the Klaas family honors Polly's memory and works to protect future generations. The impact of child safety laws. The terrible Polly Klaas case had a significant influence on American child protection regulations, especially those in California. Polly's abduction and murder brought national attention to the vulnerabilities children face and underscored the urgent need for stronger protections. In response to this heartbreaking event, lawmakers implemented significant reforms aimed at preventing similar tragedies in the future. The three-strikes law, which was passed in 1994, was one of the most significant developments. This law mandated life sentences for individuals convicted of 3 serious crimes, especially violent offenses against children. The aim was clear: to keep repeat offenders, like Polly's kidnapper, from being released and causing further harm. Polly's case also sparked improvements in community safety measures. Many communities came together to advocate for better monitoring of sex offenders, ensuring that those who had committed crimes against children were kept under close watch. Law enforcement agencies enhanced their response protocols for missing children, allowing them to act quickly in cases of potential abduction. Furthermore, Polly's story raised awareness about child safety, leading to educational programs that equipped parents and children with the knowledge to recognize and avoid dangerous situations. Organizations focused on preventing child abduction and promoting safety practices in schools and neighborhoods emerged, making a significant difference in community awareness. As a result of these changes, child protection laws became much stronger. The reforms inspired by Polly's case reflect a broader commitment to safeguarding children. Today, her legacy continues through ongoing advocacy for children's rights and safety, reminding everyone of the importance of community involvement and vigilance in protecting the most vulnerable members of society. Polly Klaas's legacy. Ongoing efforts for change. Polly Klaas's legacy continues to inspire important efforts to keep children safe. After her tragic abduction and murder, Her family and supporters worked hard to raise awareness about the dangers that children face and the need for stronger laws. They started the Polly Klaas Foundation, which focuses on preventing child abductions and promoting safety in communities. The foundation provides helpful resources for families and teaches children about personal safety, empowering them to recognize and avoid potential dangers. In addition to education, the foundation pushes for legal changes that make child protection stronger. This includes better monitoring of sex offenders and faster responses from law enforcement when a child goes missing. As a result of these efforts, laws and community practices have improved, making it harder for dangerous people to harm children. Polly's story reminds us how important it is to stay alert and get involved in protecting kids. Her legacy inspires many people to come together to create a safer environment for all children. By honoring Polly's memory through these efforts, we can work towards a future where every child is safe and protected. Thanks for watching Deep Crime Unveiled. Polly Klaas's story shows us why protecting our children is so vital. Her legacy continues to inspire us to act and ensure kids are safe. If you find this video meaningful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more important content. Let's work together to create a safer world for all children. Until next time. Goodbye.